For anyone who would like to ask a question, kindly tell us your name and where you come from.
Hi, I'm Leia. So basically, inner strength is not easily achieved. But what is one of the first steps that we can do in order to control our anger emotions or the negative emotions? That's all. Thanks.
Thank you for being brave and asking the first question. It's not easy to be the first one to stand up. So the first thing is to recognize that I don't want this. And while you think that, well, anger is fine, it's okay, it's a part of life, everybody gets angry, so no problem, I'll carry on, then nothing will change. But if there comes a moment of realization that it's not natural to be angry, and just the fact that the physical body, through biofeedback mechanisms, we know that a minute of anger and it takes the body 5 minutes to settle down because the blood pressure, the pulse rate, all sorts of things go out of sync. And so 5 minutes of anger and it takes 20 minutes for the body to settle. So anger is not natural and anger is not necessary. Things can be done with peace, with love, rather than with anger. So once I have that realization, then I say, I'm going to start dealing with it. I want to get rid of this. And so you go on that inner journey and you check yourself. What is it that's triggering the anger? It's deeply connected with ego, of course, but also there's a discontent and emptiness of spirits that's making me react. And so let me find out, what are the things that cause the anger to erupt? And as I understand myself more and more, and I make that connection, I'm going to be able to draw that love, that peace within myself, to be able to calm things down within me. And the more I learn to respond with peace, with non-violence, that new pattern of behavior will kick in. And it won't take too long at all. You'll see a remarkable change very quickly. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Sister Genty and everyone here. My name is Annie Serrano. I'm with the women's organization, Pilipina. I may not be a millennial, obviously. I'm quite old. But I'm sitting next to a lot of young people. And I remember that my son and I sort of got that same habit that the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is to look at my Facebook. Isn't it? No? And in the last couple of days, frankly, I am already thinking that, and I told my son this, I think I will unsubscribe to Facebook. Can I do that? Because I feel I'm wasting a lot of time scrolling, finding out what my friends are doing, the food that they eat, or their mood for, the day. I also get some news, but I think in the end, I thought to myself, why don't I start my day in the morning with a morning prayer? And a prayer book that has been sitting beside my bed for like 2 years now, I started to open yesterday. So I think what I want to say, Sister Genty, thank you so much for speaking to me personally, because I'm on that stage of this life's journey. But can you give us, the young people around here, a tip or two how to start our day right and not open our cell phone and our Facebook?
Well, firstly, congratulations for having created that thought that this is the change that's going to happen. That's wonderful. And you can see that there are some habits that cross all generations. We're all caught up with these things. A simple thing to do is to give yourself maybe 15 minutes extra in the morning, which means setting your alarm clock 15 minutes earlier, so that it's not time that you would normally have done other things. It's extra time, which is time for me. And when I realize that loving myself means taking care of myself, it means looking after myself, and that means looking after my feelings and my emotions. So let me start the day with love, with truth, with peace. Then I can love myself a little bit more each day. And so starting the day with silence, with reflection, with prayer is definitely the way to start creating more love in my heart.
Thank you, Sister Genti. Our next question will come from a young gentleman.
Hello. My name is Carlo Lazaro from National Youth Commission. And my question for you, Sister Genti, is how will I know, or each person know, that his or her inner strength is enough for him or her to surpass his or her daily life?
Thank you. Each day, as I develop that inner strength, I feel how I'm changing and I'm coping differently, responding differently to situations. I know what I used to be like before, but as I develop that inner strength, maybe now I'm more tolerant, I'm more ready to listen, I'm more patient, I'm more clear. So all these are signs that the inner strength is growing, and it's helping me now, here, at this moment. And of course, it's also preparation for the future, for whatever may happen. And so I'm developing that resilience. The Vice President spoke about resilience. And so that inner strength also gives me resilience.
Good afternoon, Sister Genti. I'm Bing Carion. I'm an author of 32 coffee table books. I want to thank you for, I've met you many times, and your talks always fill me with such peace and love. My question is, why is the world today so full of turmoil, killings, and evil people? I mean, about 2 weeks ago, we had our conference of Sonte and Nice, and we barely missed it, the killing of this ISIS. I mean, we're just filled with so much discomfort and sadness of what's happening. And I'm thinking that probably we should all be with you in one to commune with peace and ask for peace and forgiveness so that they could change. Can you enlighten us and share with us what we should do?
I see that the world goes through different phases, and it's not just a phase of 10 years, 20 years. People see those cycles too, but I'm seeing how over the last few thousand years, actually, not even 50 years or 100 years, but a few thousand years, the world has been moving further and further into a state of darkness. And we've had amazing messengers who've come from God to give us a message of truth and peace and love, but we've ignored them. We've said wonderful, wonderful in terms of ideas, but we haven't done what they've asked us to do. And so the energy has been actually descending energy. If you look at what's going on, there's a greater and greater loss of family, of values, and that inner strength in the individual. And what I'm seeing now is that there's a reversal of that. Whether it's big groups like this or small groups, but across the world, I'm seeing that there's a growing awareness of consciousness, mindfulness, meditation, which didn't exist 50 years ago. There's a coming together of people that Senator Shahani spoke about, the ecumenical movement, and so people again coming together, recognizing the similarities rather than the differences. And so I feel that we've reached that darkest point, which is just before the dawn, and the dawn is breaking. light is gradually coming into the world, and each one of us can contribute and make it happen faster by connecting with that light and allowing that light to come through us, so that then you don't curse the darkness, but you bring in the light, so that then the light is going to be able to transform people, so that together we make the day happen again. Because the original state of humanity is of goodness. I believe that absolutely. And this is what all the scriptures have also told us, that there's goodness, there's truth, there's love in every human soul. This become a bit covered up with a lot of dust. And so the purpose of silence, introspection, is to be able to clean that out. And so what I can do is bring about that change within myself. And yes, that can create a ripple effect. How many people do you send Christmas cards to? 50? 100? 1,000? So your sphere of influence is huge. Every individual has an amazing number of connections. We heard about Facebook and things that happen, but we have an influence on many, many others. And so as I change, I'll see my world changing also. So it's a message of hope.
My name is Hero Asandas Daryanani. I'm past president of the Indian Chamber of Commerce, also past president of the Rotary Club of Forbes Park. As I mentioned earlier, we had met about 40 years back. I don't think you'll recall, but let me take you down time tunnel. It was in the company of Senator Letitia Shahani also. And you had given discourses in my house in San Lorenzo village in Makati. Although you have discussed meditation, etc., and I heard about Facebook, etc., I'm going to deviate a little bit. You may have overlooked vegetarianism. 65 years back, I migrated to this country, and nobody knew the meaning of a cardiologist. Today, there's a cardiologist in every nook and corner of Manila. I believe that could be attributed to a lot of meat eating. Now, those of you who eat meat in this congregation, raise your hands. All of us. I would say 99.9% we eat meat. And I'm sure many of us have had minor or major heart attacks. My question now is, can you expound on the advantages of vegetarianism? Thank you.
Mahatma Gandhi said at one point that if we want to have peace in the world, then the method by which we acquire our food should also be peaceful and not based on violence. And I think that there's a lot of truth in that statement. And today we know that it's not just a moral factor of having plant-based diet, but it's also an ecological factor. It's also a health factor. You rightly have commented that diet and health are very deeply related. And this isn't just stuff that's coming out of the top of my head, but there's a lot of information on the internet available about diet and health and the connection of plant-based diet and health. There's a lot of information about the ecology. It takes 8 amounts the space of land for a meat diet than it takes for a vegetarian diet. The planet cannot support a meat diet anymore. There's enough land, there's enough everything to feed everyone, but not with a meat diet, only a plant-based diet. And what you'll find is that as your food habits change, your mind actually becomes calmer. The body becomes healthier, I mean, I don't want to go into statistics of hormones and antibiotics, etc., that are being used for meat production today. It's really, really highly artificial and very unnatural. And it creates a lot of hazards for our health. There's also a lot of information about ecology and the connection of plant-based diet. There is a beautiful future ahead. And one of the things I've noticed is that more and more people, in a very organic, natural way, are turning to plant-based diets. So that's one of the rays of hope, of light that I see enter the world. When I migrated to England in 1957 with my parents, I was a natural vegetarian, and the only thing that I could eat at school for lunch was a limp piece of lettuce and some boiled potato. They really didn't know what to feed me. They didn't know about vegetarian diet. And today, in London, there's a vegetarian restaurant on every corner. And so, good news. There's a lot of bad news, but that's part of the good news, that the awareness of vegetarian diet is growing in a big way, especially amongst young people. And that's the good news again, that we have many young people here with us today.
Good evening, Sister Janki. My name is Raju Mandhian, and I'm a leadership trainer and a coach. I'm also the former director of the Indian Chamber that Mr. Hiro Asandas represents. My question, actually, when I stood up and I had divine intervention, I got the answer already. The question, though, is this. Besides changing yourself, besides becoming a role model, besides offering a lot of love and compassion, what are your ideas on helping others? What are your ideas which are cognitive that can help others reduce the bitterness and the anger that lives within them? Besides offering love, besides changing yourself.
The only thing I know are the things of inside out. Because I think whatever's going on inside is going to be reflected outside. So I would say to people, just look inside and see what's going on. What is it that's still causing you pain and tying you back to the past? And probably you'll be able to identify the lack of something in your present life now that keeps pulling you back to the past. For example, if today I'm not content in my work, the pull of the past is very strong, but then I keep remembering the pain of the past, and it's a catch-22. Pain now, the pain of the past, and intensity, and so all of that just carries on. So I would say, try and sort things out now, at the present moment in your life, and then look into the past and deal with things then.
So you're saying the power, the control still lies within you rather than outside of you to help change others, yeah?
I believe that absolutely. I can hand over power to somebody else and become a victim, but that's not very satisfying.
Okay.
And a victim chooses to be a victim. Now that sounds difficult to accept, but I'm talking about emotional level, but other things also. Well, for me personally, do I want to carry on being a victim? And if I choose not to be a victim, then it's up to me to use my inner power to take the first step.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sister Shanti. I am a teacher from Quirino High School located at Quezon City. My question would be, but first I would like to tell that teachers are really highly exposed to a lot of stress, a lot of problems inside the classroom. And then a while ago you said that expressing our anger would indicate that we are weak. So my question would be, how could we tell our students to act in the acceptable manner without us being mad at them? And my second question would be, because I'm a kind of teacher who talks to myself when I'm alone, of course. I thought, is that normal? Because I think I've yeah, I talk a lot, and then I would say to myself, if I'm feeling so ugly, I would tell myself, it's okay, you're pretty, you're cool, you're a cool teacher, you're an intelligent one. So whenever I am feeling frustrated, when I don't get the result, the desired result from my students, I would say, I can do this next time, I can do this better, and I could be the best tomorrow to provide my students the best that I could provide. So again, is that normal if I talk to myself and I will encourage myself?
I believe that communication is very important, and I believe that the first communication is with myself. Let my mind and my heart talk together. Let my conscience and my understanding talk together. And the more dialogue there is going on in here between me and all my different faculties, the stronger I become, the more I can love myself. So you're on track. Absolutely. And yes, it's very important to be positive about the self also. Because yes, I can be better tomorrow. Whatever happened today, never mind. I can be better tomorrow. And so that's also a very good sign of what you've shared. Other things. Yes, I've been in classrooms where I've been quite shocked at the behavior of some of the young people. And I'm now old, but I don't feel old. But when I was young, that's a sign I'm old. I'm saying when I was young. Certainly there was a different type of atmosphere in schools and colleges. It was an atmosphere of respect. And I believe that where we've lost touch with our inner being, we've lost our value for the self, self-respect has gone, respect for others around us has gone, respect for the law, respect for other forms of life, respect for nature. And we see the results of all of this and what's happened to our world and the planet. And so going within, connecting with my own original core values teaches me to respect myself and love myself. And especially when you're in a situation that you've described, I think recharging your inner battery every day and going into school stable, with your dignity, your head held up high, and a smile, that helps. As you walk into the classroom, whatever's going on, you just stay very still and just keep looking at each one as a being of light, as a being of goodness. And it might take a few minutes, but they'll be so shocked that they'll stop talking. And probably they'll calm down. And then you can introduce some of these ideas and say, should we begin with a moment to just connect with ourselves before we begin the lesson? These are practical things that teachers are actually doing. And I know that here also there's a group of teachers that are very interested in values, and values are caught, they're not taught. But from you, yes, others can catch those values, but there are other simple methods, tools that you can use. And so I recommend you get in touch with the center. But as a starter, the recharging, and secondly, using that inner calm to actually create that space within the classroom. It'll work. Try it.
Thank you so much, Sister.